Joker Boxing here. I'm with my boy EJ Boxing Live. What's going on, my man?
Yo, everything's good in the hood, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, let's get to one of y'all's best fighters over there in the UK. The Golden Boy, I could call him, man. He's out there putting in work right now. He's definitely a star. Anthony Joshua. Man, I'm hearing rumors that Eddie Hearn is trying to make a potential fight between Anthony Joshua and Charles Martin. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I heard that fight for April the 9th. I feel like I heard that fight might be happening, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't really like the fight, man. I think it's too early in the guy's career. Now, people feel that Charles Martin is not really developed either, so they think it's kind of it'll be kind of an even fight. But to me personally, that there's a thing over in the UK what most people do, right? They usually fight British, Commonwealth. They go into European honours and you fight for the world. So that's what people usually do traditionally. And the reason why they do that because it's stepping stones. Now you just fought Dillian White, who you're kind of on the same level. Great fight, big fight, sellout fight, big fight over here in the UK. Now the next fight, Derek Chisora doesn't want the fight because Derek Chisora's fighting Pulev. And there's other guys at the European level you could fight, and basically, just take your time when you get into the right place. But for the Prince Charles Martin of the world, they're not gonna go nowhere. It's not gonna go nowhere. Prince, and for you in America, see if Charles Martin can defend his belt. We all know Fury is the real champion fighting Vladimir. He should never have been stripped, but it is what it is. Maybe the Wilder and Prince Charles Martin fight, they could fight each other, but there's nothing going on. The heavyweight division right now is in transition, and to be honest with you, if you get caught up there and you lose to a Prince Charles Martin, where do you go from there? I mean, Prince Charles Martin could lose and people think he didn't deserve to have the belt, but if you lost to Prince Charles Martin, that's real. You're in like Never Land. Where do you go? You go back down to European. You know what I'm saying? The criticism starts. So I think as a pro, especially with all the potential you have, you just take your time and build your career. I mean, a lot of people think, yeah, you can beat him now, but that's all the people don't understand about matchmaking. Matchmaking in boxing is very important, but also as a guy got to apply his trade, build your confidence up. Beating someone like a Dillian was good for you, but let's get it right. Dillian had a lot of injuries. Dillian, he's never been 12 rounds anything. You probably had more experience and better opponents than Dillian. Dillian maybe was sparring. The Klitsch goes over there, but sparring is one thing. So really and truly, Dillian wanted to fight you, but maybe he didn't have his body was in great enough shape to fight you. But not making no excuses, you beat him fair and square. So fighting someone like Prince Charles Martin, how much credit would you get if you even beat him? How much credit is so the fight? If it happens, then I'll be on it, obviously. But to me, I just think it's a bit too early. What's your take?
Dude, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I think it's a very dangerous fight. I mean, I know everyone's looking at Charles Martin, and he's kind of that guy who everybody wants to go take his lunch money. You know what I mean? Because like out of all the other heavyweight champions, he looks like he's the most vulnerable. Okay, he's kind of raw. He's got talent, but he's kind of raw. He's kind of unorthodox, southpaw, tall, rangy guy who's got power, but he seems like he might be a little goofy. And a guy like Joshua is probably polished enough to beat him. I'll admit that. But, you go down that road and it's so dangerous because, again, like you said, if he loses, where do you go from there? Joshua right now is a pay-per-view star, big name attraction. I mean, this is a guy who sold over 400,000 pay-per-view buys on his first pay-per-view. That's damn near unheard of. So this guy is down the road is going to be, selling out arenas, doing huge pay-per-view numbers. You don't want to risk it right now at this stage in the game on a dangerous, quirky opponent like Charles Martin. And besides that, even if you win, do you really want to go down the road to where now you got to sit here and you got to fight who your mandatory is, or you got to vacate? And, you're a champion at that point. The fans are going to demand that you fight the best of the best. And the question is Joshua already at that level? And while I think he has the talent to do it, I don't think it's wise for him to rush and for Eddie Hearn and them to make that happen, because this guy, he's got huge fights. Obviously, like you said, Chisora's not interested right now, but down the road, dude, that's a huge fight. That's going to be a huge fight, Anthony Joshua versus Derek Chisora. And it's easy money, in my opinion, for Anthony Joshua. I don't think Chisora has anything to offer the kid in the ring. David Hay, that's going to be a tricky fight down the road, but again, I think Joshua can win that, and even if he loses it, it's forgivable. It's a mega fight, right? And people will say, hey, well, they could have a rematch, or you never know what you could do. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a mega fight. And then of course Tyson Fury, maybe where the belts are on the line. So there's no rush to fight Charles Martin. Why? I don't really see it, man.
Absolutely, man. I mean, this is what I'm saying to you. But you see, that's the fan base in the UK. They demand blood, and they see blood. I look at this, yeah. Prince Charles Martin, that's his full name, right? He's a southpaw. He's probably the fourth southpaw ever in the boxing history to hold a version of the heavyweight championship belt. Yeah, he's 6'6", yeah, and every guy he's ever faced has hit the floor. Every guy, no one's gonna diss with him, bro. Like, he's got experienced team, got a very experienced team behind him. He's got the guy. What's that guy who beat Mike Tyson twice in amateurs? I can't remember his name now. But he's got a very experienced team behind him. They're gonna, their negotiation. I heard Eddie Hearn, they're asking for a lot of money in the negotiations, and Eddie Hearn is like, oh, maybe they asked too much money. Understandable, they asked for too much money because it's a very dangerous fight. They want to make sure that their champion, if whether he loses, he's gonna be looked after. The people around him are gonna get looked after. They've invested a lot of time and money in him, and then understandably, maybe Joshua could sell out, try and get it in London, where maybe a stadium fight where everyone's gonna come watch it. So it would be a big fight, and it would sell out if it was in the UK. But in my opinion, you just don't need to do it. I think a guy needs to apply his trade properly, efficiently, fighting opponents where we know he's gonna test him a bit, but we're not gonna get it. Eventually, them guys are not gonna, like I said, them guys are not going nowhere. They're gonna be. Prince Charles Martin's young, Deontay Wilder's young, Tyson Fury's young. You know what I'm saying? Like, Vladimir is more or less out the window, out the door. These guys are young. There's no rush. There's no hurry. He seemed like, to me, he's on course to be a heavyweight champion, but you don't want to get into the position. And this is what I'll give you like this, yeah. When Frank Bruno fought, I think he fought Bone Crusher Smith. His very first world title shot, yeah. Well, basically, he British, Commonwealth, European, but really and truly, most pundit observers looked at it that he didn't have that much experience. Wasn't the most experienced fight. I think a Jumbo Cummins must have beat him. You need some guys who are going to test you, but you're not going to beat you and put you in that position. Prince Charles Martin, to me, is a very he can hit hard, man. He hits hard, and Joshua looked like when Dillian White hit him, he looked like he struggled from that punch. So there's one thing about in boxing, your chin and this and that, and them heavyweights can hit. So it's a dangerous fight, regardless of anyone. I don't care how much people underestimate Charles Woodman, who I actually like. Yeah, I actually think he's actually very dangerous. Yeah, people can't get in there. When you get in there with someone like that, it's not even funny. Joshua can hit himself, no doubt about it. You can, but it's gonna be a serious war. And this stage of the career, you need to build a Charles Martin, let him do something, let you do something, so make it into a bigger fight, a bigger money fight, so you can say, yeah, that's what I want to see, rather than thinking he's going to be a sacrificial lamb.
Agreed, because there's too many bad outcomes that could happen in that fight. I mean, even if you win, like you said, you go to war with him, you get hurt, and then, you're the champion, and everyone's going to have all these expectations from you. I mean, the thing about Joshua is, part of the reason why a lot of these guys want to fight him is he's basically, even at this stage, he's kind of becoming the cash cow of the heavyweight division. I mean, this is the guy, when you want to pay this is the guy you want to fight. I mean, I heard even Dillian White got a nice pretty penny from fighting him. Yeah. So that's the thing, man. This is the guy who you want to fight. So the thing is, all champions are always going to want to call him out. They're always going to want to give him a shot, because you go over in the UK, you're filling up stadiums, you're going to make millions. So there's no reason to rush and try to go this route now. So I think Eddie Hearn has to avoid that temptation, because again, this guy has so much potential. I mean, you got Joseph Parker out there. I mean, these are huge names that are becoming bigger, and they're wanting to fight Anthony Joshua. So he's gonna have all those fights. Let me ask you this: what are some fights right now that you think would be good for Anthony Joshua for the next step? If I had to make a suggestion, I would look at a guy. He might be semi-dangerous, but I think it will be a good fight in the UK. Maybe Anthony Joshua versus the David Price. I would have said Tony Thompson, but he's already getting ready to fight Louis King Kong Ortiz. So, what are some suggestions that you think would be good fights for Joshua at this stage in the game?
Okay, so there's kind of a few options. He's got a lot of options. So for me, winning the British and Commonwealth belt is a good achievement. Now, over here in the UK, you can actually keep that belt. The British belt, yeah, by having four or three title defenses off that belt. You can go that route, so you've got that belt in your pocket. It's a good belt to have, and it stays in your house. That's the first thing I think you could do. The second one, you can go into European and fight people like Carlos Takam, Orlando Solis, them kind of opponents. You know, they're going to test you, but you know, you should barely be able to take them. Maybe Eddie Chambers type of thing. People think, well, that's a very tricky fight. Eddie Chambers is a bit better in the European level. But these are the sort of fights you could do. You could fight a guy tricky, but in my opinion, he has so many options in front of him. But the main option everyone sees is like, yeah, we want to see you get in there. But I just think the people who want him to get in there, if Andy Joshua was to lose, they will just jump off the bandwagon and his big money thing will go down. Like you said, he's the cash cow of the division. If you're the cash cow of the division and I'm an accountant or I'm a banker, I'm not putting him in there against no fight which dangerous. If anyone think, like I said, if anyone thinks Charles Martin's going to be easy fight, you're laughing. You don't know boxing.
Yeah.
You cannot know boxing because the man shattered a man's knee. Now people say, oh yeah, well look at this, right? When the guy came into the fight, he was walking normally, and all of a sudden when he left the fight, he couldn't walk. So that's showing you how much power this guy's generating to dislocate a man's knee. A man who was an athlete. And listen to this. Everyone thought they all had that guy, what's his name, Glashkov. They all had him winning the fight. He was durable against Steve Cunningham. He was durable against all them Adamic. He was durable against all them guys. They never shattered his knees. There was nothing wrong with him. You know, there was no indication coming into the fight that there was anything wrong with his body. But all of a sudden, his knees get shattered. Fighting Prince Charles Martin shows to me that this guy can hit more than what everyone thinks he can. It's just the way it thinks. People think, oh, it's comical. Yeah, because Tyson Fury is the real champion, no doubt. But listen to me, yeah, this sort of fights that people can't see coming. And what happens if Prince Charles Martin beats you in spectacular fashion? All of a sudden, he becomes a massive star now off your name. That's the risk you're in there, and it is a risk, no doubt about it, because if you look at the KO percentages, they're relatively same. They're relatively same, you know. They basically beat every man in front of them.
Yeah, it's happened before, dude, because remember the whole David Price situation. I mean, what's crazy is everyone, you know, when David Price was on the come up, not everyone, but a lot of people jumped off of Tyson Fury's bandwagon, who was really the talented heavyweight, and they jumped on the bandwagon of David Price because he had all the power, you know what I mean? So everyone's looking at David Price like he could be something, and then Tony the Tiger Thompson got that guy out of there twice.
Yes.
So it could happen, man, and obviously Charles Martin is a leagues above Tony the Thompson Tiger, even though I have a lot of respect for him as well. You know, Charles Martin is on a different level than him right now. He's young, he's strong, southpaw. You know, I mean, this guy's a beast. But, you know, another thing I wanted to bring up is, you know, with Anthony Joshua, you know, I think that Shannon Briggs might be a really good fight. 'Cause I know Shannon Briggs recently called out David Haye, and he was trying to get David Haye in the ring. I think Shannon Briggs might be a good opponent for him because I think Shannon Briggs, one, he's going to get paid more from fighting Anthony Joshua than he would fighting David Haye. And I think that will be a good stepping stone for Joshua, something that he could get some experience from that fight. I think that would be a good look for him.
I don't know, man. You know, I won't mind seeing it, yeah. But, you know, the thing is, yeah, what has him to gain? Okay, you beat a former undisputed champion who you shouldn't even be in the ring, most people say. I don't think you come out of that credibility. But what would happen is that the fight would be, it's almost, are you taking your career seriously? Because that's the entertainment fight. You know, he's joking around, you know, he'll come in, what's up, champ? Most people would probably just want him to win just because of that. You know, and the thing is, yeah, Dillian White kind of made you a massive star because Dillian White was such a villain towards you. He made you a star, but everyone kind of likes Shannon Briggs, and they probably don't want to see you do that to him. And if you beat up Shannon Briggs really badly, that will be pretty bad for your career. I don't like that one because you know, if you beat him down, you're not getting anything out of it. You know, and Shannon Briggs and even David Haye, that would be alright because people might want to see Shannon Briggs get knocked out by David Haye. They're probably if David Haye's on that level where he wouldn't mind fighting something like that, maybe. But for someone like Joshua in his prime, they just see it as bullying. It didn't go well down when Rocky Marciano beat Joe Louis. I'm not trying to say they're on the same level, but it's bad. It's a bad look though.
Good point. Let me ask you this question, because obviously you're over in the UK. You're my resident UK expert when it comes to UK boxing. So what do you think the star potential power for Anthony Joshua is? How big can he be? And how well do you see him doing in those fights when he does have to eventually come up against some of his own countrymen, when he has to get in the ring with a Tyson Fury and a David Haye down the line? Tell me about what you really think of Anthony Joshua as a fighter and his potential.
I think his potential he's got a lot of upside. A lot of upside to his potential. He's got everything. He's dedicated. Don't drink, don't smoke. Only thing: sleep, eat, boxing. You know, he's Olympic gold medalist. He's basically just the golden boy of British boxing right now. Potentially earnings. Everyone knows him all over England. If he goes fight, the flag will be flying behind him. And a lot of British country, like Ricky Hatton, who followed Ricky Hatton over to Vegas. They'll be following. A lot of British fans will be following him over. His upside is amazing. Whichever network in America gets him, they're gonna have a golden boy, which probably could be HBO. It could possibly be HBO, man. HBO, the flagship of kind of America's boxing. If Showtime get him, to me, I probably prefer Showtime. I think they're a bit more respectful in terms of commentary and the way they conduct themselves towards the athlete. I'd prefer that, yeah. But HBO probably gets more numbers. But in my opinion, yeah, the upside is huge. And the Tyson Fury fight, he wants them sort of fights. Right now, there's a lot of needle back and forward. Tyson Fury said a couple of things. They wouldn't mind that fight against Tyson Fury. But Tyson Fury has trouble with his own. He's got Luis Ortiz in that WBA tournament waiting for him. And that ain't no fun either. And this is another thing. This is what I'm trying to say to you. Prince Charles Martin, them dudes, yeah, they've got Luis Ortiz up and coming. That's no joke. Don't matter how old he is. That guy is technically sound, you know. You got Brian Jennings there. You know, there's some guys in the division who really could give you trouble. I mean, look at Steve Cunningham. He's the one who floored Tyson Fury. You know, this is what I'm saying to you. So even though people might think some of the American guys are not good compared to back in the day, they can technically give a lot of people trouble. If you think about it, Steve Cunningham beat Glasgow but didn't get the decision. Eddie Chambers beat Adamic and didn't get decision. You know, there's a lot of skullduggery going in the American fight, but these guys are very good fighters. It's just that they all they're waiting for is someone like Anthony Joshua. They can make their name like a Buster Douglas or a Mike Tyson. So you know, if you don't tread carefully, there's some minefields in the heavyweight division that you could step on and derail your career. So that's why I said to you, you need to take your time. Eddie Hearn and the thing is, Eddie Hearn. This is another thing. Eddie Hearn, he's a young promoter. He's never had a heavyweight. This is his first truck at the heavyweight. Usually, heavyweights used to go to Frank Warren, and he used to go to what's his name again? Frank Maloney, right? Who brought through Lennox Lewis. That's traditionally he used to go to them promoters, right? And with them having him, Eddie Hearn has realized just having him there in his stable, Andy Josh is the golden goose of his organization. So you don't want to put your golden goose in a particular situation where basically he could lose. So everything's a learning curve at this fight. It's a learning curve. The Dillian White was a learning curve. I think it was a good learning curve, and I think you basically build from that. You put, like I said, the Shannon Briggs, no. I think that a Carlos Takam, yeah, that's a good fight. A Pulev fight is good. A Derek Chisora fight, good. A Price fight, good. That level, fine. No trouble about, because they'll give you a bit of trouble, but you should be able to overwhelm. And there's a couple more fights there. I like 3 or 4 fights at European level. I mean, he's like I said, he's at British and Commonwealth. That's what you could say. What would you? I think you got NSABL belt or something like that in America, where you win that belt before you go into world honors. That's what you need to do. You know, people need to take their time, especially when you're heavyweight. Take your time. Couple of fights in there, you know, you're gonna knock guys out real quickly, probably because your fights ain't going that long, and eventually, maybe next year, you challenge for world honors. That's just my opinion.
Well, one point that you brought up that I thought was a really good point, what people don't really think about in this heavyweight division, is you are fighting in a division where one punch can change everything. You know, see Buster Douglas versus Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? Like, one punch can change everything. And you're right, there's landmines everywhere. I mean, even Steve Cunningham, you bring him up. Here's a guy who his fight versus Tyson Fury is looking a lot better now. Yeah. You know, you got to go back and revisit it and say, hey, look at how he was able to give Fury a little bit of trouble in spots, and give the guy some credit for that, because look how great Fury has gone on to become. So there's a lot of great fighters out here, and if you step on one of those landmines, you can really detonate that and really take someone's career way off course. And I think Charles Martin at this stage of the game could potentially be one of those landmines. Let me ask you this question real quick before we wrap this up. What do you think would happen in a potential fight between Hughie Fury and Anthony Joshua? Because a lot of people are bringing up Hughie Fury. What's your opinion on him, and how do you think he would fare if him and Joshua got in the ring, because that could be a big fight as well.
That's just bullying. This is straight out bullying. I'll be honest with you, yeah. I don't see the potential in Huey Fury. His body breaks down, he gets ill, and they're not. To me, it's like a bloody. What can I say? It's like a tractor or something. His career is slow. I don't even, he's just got the name, obviously, his cousin. Maybe he doesn't get anywhere. He's only like, 20? They're not doing nothing with him in terms of like trying to say this guy. He to me, even when I looked at Fury at the time, I never saw potential if this guy could be the heavyweight champion of the world. But his personality, so charismatic with his personality, talks a lot of game. But really and truly, let's be real. Tyson Fury's career is built on getting belts from Derek Chisora. That's how he's got his fame. Look at this, right? The British and Commonwealth belt he got from Derek Chisora. He's mandatory, right? For you, I don't know, you guys know in the States, was supposed to be David Price. He vacated the belts to not fight David Price. Very interesting that is, yeah? Right? And David Price wanted to fight him. The next time, right, it was a WBC belt against Kevin Johnson, right? Waiting around for the WBC because he wanted there. That took a while. So what did he again? Who did he fight again? Derek Chisora for the European and WBO mandatory to fight Vladimir Klitschko. That's what he did. And then he fights him and he gets a shot at Vladimir. So he's had a kind of easy route, in my opinion, right, to get to the championship. And I'll tell you what, yeah, he's talking about retirement for you. I don't know if you guys know in the States. He's actually talking about after Klitschko, he's thinking about retirement. Why? Because Luis Ortiz and some of these other guys are going to be your mandatory. They're very hard opponents. Every hard opponent, really young guy like a Price at the time that people really want to see. Price really wanted to fight. He didn't want to fight. I'm not trying to say Tyson Fury is a cow. I'm not saying none of that. I'm just trying to say to you a real challenge, yeah? I mean, he went into the ring against Deontay Wilder and called him a bum. But really and truly, Deontay Wilder's got Pulev. After that, he gets past Pulev, then maybe that fight can happen. But really and truly, you have to fight your man. The moment you fight Vladimir, which is a voluntary, because really and truly, that fight doesn't have to happen. It happened in the contract, where basically you're supposed to, in the contract, you've written down, but really and truly, that's a voluntary. But your next opponent will be, in my opinion, I feel Luis Ortiz, who's going to do, and he's being pushed by a Golden Boy, and they will make sure that you fight him or you might have to vacate your belts. And this is why he's talking about retirement, in my opinion. Whether he retires is another thing. So what I'm trying to say to you is that with Huey Fury, yeah, Huey Fury and I don't even, it's so out the window. He's not fighting no one of name. They said his next fight is going to be on Channel 5 against a notable name. We will find out. We will see. But if I put him in there against, if you put him in against Dillian, I don't see him beating him. If you put him against Joshua, I don't see him beating him. If you put him against Price, I don't see him beating him. Derek Chisora, because of his size, I think he could probably give Derek Chisora trouble, right? But I really not no high hopes with Huey Fury. And if he fought Joshua, it's just, to me, it's out and out bullying.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said it, because a lot of people ask me about Huey Fury all the time, and I've told them the same thing. I say he doesn't really have a lot of power. He seems a little bit unorthodox. I mean, he can probably give people a little bit of trouble based on his movement and his length. But as far as the elite level, like a guy like a Joshua, I do think he would steamroll Huey Fury. That's just my opinion. But maybe Huey Fury will try to fight him in some type of big fight and just try to cash out down the line. We'll see. As far as Tyson Fury goes, I do think that he did prove himself by beating Vladimir, so I give him tons of marks for that. But you do bring up some good points that his road there wasn't the most difficult, but I still do give him a lot of marks for upsetting Vladimir Klitschko in a fight where a lot of people didn't give him a chance. So yeah, we'll see what he does from there. But this heavyweight division, man, it's stacked. It's got talent, young talent, older talent. I mean, it's got the perfect mix. And it's going to be a beautiful thing down the road to see these guys mix it up. But we are both on the same page that they need to take their time with Anthony Joshua. He has the opportunity to be the face of boxing, because we know how much of an effect the heavyweight division carries and how much respect that carries as far as the entire boxing world goes. And I think this guy has the potential to really be the face of boxing. So I think that they need to take their time and be very careful with him.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, look, Anthony Joshua's favorite fighter is Mike Tyson, yeah? And like Mike Tyson, at 20 years old to become the heavyweight champ, they pushed him because for Costamato, his mentor, to be the heavyweight champ, they picked opponents, and he gained in confidence. And to be honest with you, Anthony Joshua, I interviewed Anthony Joshua on I think it was his second fight. I interviewed him, and I said to him, how do you feel? I asked him this question, yeah, like, how do you feel being hit without the head guard. You know, this is the first time being hit in your face without the head guard, and he looked at me. You know, it's new. And now, if you look at it, right, fight fans, listen to this, right? How many times has he actually really been hit in the heavyweight division? The guy only hit him properly is Dillian Whyte, properly, and stunned him. He was shot. He froze, right? He froze when he was properly hit. So my thing is this: I've been seeing that if he got hit and did shoved it off like Mike Tyson would do. Actually, Mike Tyson was very hard to hit, by the way, and shrugged it off. I would have thought, you know, this guy's a beast. But to me, he shows vulnerability, and it seems to me, Anthony Joshua, such a cool dude. You know, he always talks to things, stay humble. He's a very like easy go, but confidence. You know, you build up your confidence. He slowly started building his confidence. So why derail him and put him in a situation where he could lose all that? You know what I'm trying to say? Because look, confidence is everything in this game. If you look at David Price, to be honest with you, a lot of guys are looking at him. He lacks confidence. He's got everything. He has the height, the reach. You know, he's got amateur background. You know, I think the bronze medalist as well in the Olympics is David Price. But he lacks the confidence. You know, and confidence, everything. And Joshua, to me, seems like that as well. But somewhere when he was growing up, everyone knew he was a big guy, but maybe thought you know, he needs to be soft with people because he might not hurt them. But Tyson Fury is out on that, but he was vicious, and you need that streak. You know, and you need that streak. And I think with Prince Charles Martin, to me, he's got a little mean streak going on down there. You know, Dillian had a mean streak, but Dillian couldn't capitalize on it. So my thing is just take your time. Take your time with them type of heavyweights. And the heavyweight division is back and back strong. And the thing is perfect timing. It's that since Mayweather left the boxing game, we needed that for boxing. We need the heavyweight division to come back because it is the drought, the crown jewel of boxing. And I did say to you years ago that when the heavyweight division is back, boxing's back, and this is new for you as well, Joker Boxing, and your generation, that you've never seen something like all these heavyweights coming through. You're like, wow, this is really good. It's something to get excited because you know these fights are not going to go 12 rounds. You know someone's going to get knocked out, and that's what makes it even interesting. To the fact that these guys, you know, they're big wielding men. If you see them in real life, you're like, wow, these are superhuman big dudes, and when they throw punches, right, you know, and you see the styles and stuff like that. So it's a new day in boxing. The heavyweight division is back for me, back big time.
I agree, brother. I agree. And again, just to close it off, I agree that confidence is extremely important, because if this guy takes a loss early on at this stage to a guy who's on the level of Charles Martin, what's going to happen when he has to get in the ring with a David Haye? What's going to happen when he has to get in the ring with a Tyson Fury or a Deontay Wilder? What's his confidence going to be like then? Because in the back of his head, he's going to have those ghosts telling him, hey, man, you've been knocked out before. Hey, man, you've hit the canvas before. Early on in a young guy's career, that's not good. You know, right now, he needs to go through some of these names and go through the process, like you said, to build that confidence, become a great fighter. And I think he's got all the tools and he's got all the potential. And it's going to be down to himself and Eddie Hearn bringing that out of him, and we will see. That's our thoughts on it, guys. We appreciate y'all joining us, man. Definitely go ahead and subscribe to my boy EJ Boxing Live. Subscribe to my channel as well for more boxing news, and we'll be back at y'all with more videos, man. We appreciate y'all listening. Drop us and leave us some comments and let us know, what do you think Anthony Joshua's potential is in the heavyweight division? Who are some guys that you'd like to see him fight? And do you agree with us that Charles Martin, it might be just a little bit too quick for Anthony Joshua? You guys comment below. Let us know what y'all think. Peace.
DJ Boxing Live here. DJ Boxing Live here.
Buster Douglas knocked him out. Buster Douglas, the fat bump, the legend.
Yo, this is Chris Caban chilling with my man EJ Boxing Live, one of the hottest, dopest boxing channels on YouTube. Check them out. Boxing Beats and Rounds on the EJ Live YouTube channel.
And Thea was the number 10 rating contender, and he had never been knocked down. And Sonny destroyed his mouth. But Thea lost most of his teeth, basically with one or two left hooks.
Oh shit, boy! What was look at kids sleeping like Manny Pacquiao?
DJ Boxing Live here. DJ Boxing Live here.